What I want to do today is walk you through how like right now, you drop me on the face of this earth, how I would get a deal in 30 days. And some people go, well, what if I was forced to get a deal? Like, what if somebody took somebody hostage or family and said, if you can't produce a wholesaling deal in 30 days, what are you going to do? And that's how you have to act with this. So you have to, first of all, make it a priority. It's got to be a must. And so many of you guys sit there and just kind of like, I'm going to do this. Honestly, wholesaling is not complicated. It's us individuals that make it complicated. And I'm here to tell you, let's dive into it without further ado. We're going to do a deal within 30 days. Three things are needed from us. And I'm not going to complicate this. I'm telling you guys overthink this crap all the time. Why? Because you listen to all these gurus, these influencers, flashing their Lambos, their fancy real estate, and their watch collection. Guys, that's the easiest way to fake it. Those are the three easiest things to fake. I lease any property. I do knockoff watches, maybe one or two is real, and then I flash a $100,000 wash, but you will never see them in person with it because if they got busted in person, it'd be embarrassing. And then a Lambo, like really, you think a $150,000, $200,000 car is impressive. You're really broke if you have to brag on those three things. But what are the three things we need to get a deal in 30 days? It's not a Lambo, it's not a collection of watch, and it certainly isn't a high-end piece of real estate that you lease out. Those are the three ways you've basically spot a scammer. Rich people do not talk about that stuff ever. I would never show that stuff because it's so small, it's stupid, But when that's all you spend your money on, that's how people do it. So let's talk about the three things. And I'll answer your questions. If you guys got questions, put it in there. If you want to do a one-on-one, get in line now, and we'll make it really interesting tonight. So the three biggest things. Number one, you have to have the highest motivated sellers. Why? Because if you want to get a great wholesale deal done in 30 days, the motivation's got to be insane. Because people that aren't motivated, they don't move fast. On average, a person contemplates selling a piece of property 6 to 9 months. We don't have 6 to 9 months. We have 30 days. The only way you're going to get a deal in wholesaling that's going to make you big time bank is you have to have a high motivation. There is no exception to this rule. You're not going to find it on MLS. You're not going to find it on a FSBO. You're not going to find it pulled up in your driveway. So keep this one. You might even want to write this one down. Don't worry, guys. It's live and it's recording. Come back and do it. So number one, the highest motivation possible because time is not on our side. Number two, high volume. You are going to have a tremendous amount of leads to get that done in 30 days. Why? Because you need as many opportunities as possible. Notice, I didn't say go on MLS, call every FSBO, or talk to every realtor around there. You're not going to get anywhere in 30 days doing that, especially if you're brand new to wholesaling. You need high volume. I mean a lot. Don't worry, I'm going to break down the exact volume amount for you. Now, number one, highest motivation. There's got to be high because in a condensed amount of time, you got to have people that are close to making a decision. We just talked about number two, high volume. And number three, if you haven't guessed it by now, you have to have high activity. If you want to get a deal in 30 days, you do not get Sundays off. You do not get Saturdays off. You have to run. You're going to have to grind how hard as you possibly humanly can. Now, high activity. People always say to me, Rick, how high activity level are you talking about? Well, you guys let me know in the comments. What do you think? You've got to understand, most of you have no idea how high of an activity I'm talking about. If you want to get it done in 30 days, you can't just feel around. If you must have a deal, you're going to have an insane amount of activity. So people always ask, how high? Let's break it down for you and make it simple. And honestly, I'm using super conservative numbers. Number one, ready? You're going to have 4,500 contact attempts. I would probably push it to 5,000, but I broke down the math. I'm trying to give everybody a plan. What does that mean for a contact attempt? That means you've either tried to call them, you've tried to put a sticky note on the door, or you've talked to them in person, or however you do it. Mail is not an option in 30 days for obvious reasons. So remember, your contact attempts have to be much greater than your actual contacts. So I'd say between 4,000 and 5,000 4,500, I just picked the middle of it. The reason you need to know this because you need to know the numbers. If you are going to set a goal to get something done in 30 days, you are going to have to know what the number is going to be. Now, how do I know this? I've been doing this 21 years. And I'm telling you in the beginning, the biggest thing guys lack is you don't get the right motivation. Some of you guys hunt on MLS and FSBOs. And number two, you don't have enough activity level. If you can get high activity and get the best leads possible, and you mix them together and you work your butt off, you can easily do this. But most people aren't going to do it. So the reality is between 4,000 and 5,000 contact attempts, you need to find a way to make 3,000 connections. Now, some of you are going to have to do 6,000. Some of you can do 4,500. So a contact is someone you've actually talked to and you have a shot at buying the property. It doesn't mean it's going to be 3,000 motivated sellers. It just means someone that's open to selling their property and they're open to working with a wholesaler or a cash buyer like us. End of story. So do you understand you're going to have to do 4,000 to 5,000 to get the 3,000 contacts? Once again, 3,000 doesn't mean you're writing a contract or doing anything, but on average, if you're new to this business and you're starting out, you're going to have 3,000 people you can talk to. Not try to talk to 3,000 people you must talk to. Why? Out of 3,000, you should be able to pull one wholesale deal out of it. I've done a lot of markets. I'm telling you, those are the big boy numbers you need if you have a time crunch to get a deal done. Now, if you have a time crunch or not, it's a good practice to have high volume because high volume creates opportunities. So here's what you need to do after this. You know what it takes in 30 days. Now you just got to break it down daily. End of story. And all you got to do is break out your calculator and go, okay, Rick says I got to make 4,500 reach outs per day on average 30 days. That means 150. So if you were doing this just on cold calling, you got to make a minimum of 150 calls a day, 7 days a week. Or you could do, I don't think you take time off when you got to get a deal in 30 days. But if you did 200 times 6, that's 1,200 times 4. You could do that. You could technically take off one day. However you do it, you break it down per day, per week, and you already know it per month because you don't have any other time. Actually, I don't mind this technique because it creates urgency. And if you guys understand the urgency and how much you have to fight to get wholesale deals, and then you can build out a system and do it on a regular basis, you'll make a lot of money in this business. But if you don't, you get stuck. Now that we know what kind of volume and numbers we need to get, the question is, okay, how do I do it? Once again, we have numbers. We're going to go to the easiest and highest motivation, which you got to pick the right list. So if I only had 30 days, I am not even going to waste my time on high equity. I'm not going to waste my time on any type of direct mail. I got to find people that got to make a decision right now. How do we go to find those ones? Simply just go to government lists. If you guys want a deeper explanation, go to freewholesaling.com. But what I'm going to do is give you the cheat sheet. If you put me up to a challenge, I went in your market in 30 days. This is exactly what I do. I would not change a thing. This is not about how much money you have. It's about how dedicated you are and how you make this a must. Because the ones I'm going to show you are going to have the highest motivation, but these lists aren't going to work themselves. And they're not the easiest lists to get in the world either. So the number one list. Now, I know what you're saying. Well, Rick, what if I'm doing this virtually? I don't know. You're just going to have to work your butt off harder. I don't know what to tell you. Listen, wholesaling doesn't care where you came from, but it also doesn't care about your excuses. So if you're doing it virtually, figure it out. I don't know what to tell you. I know getting government lists are harder when you do it virtually. To overcome resistance, you got to beat it with persistence. So let's jump in the first one. Code violations. This is simply when somebody goes out, their property gets tagged because the grass is too high, they painted the house the wrong color, or they boarded up the windows and they left the house, or maybe it's a vacant, derelict house in the neighborhood, and so either your neighbors reported them or somebody in the city drove by. They get a tag on the building. Once they have a tag, they have to write the violation. They usually have 20 to 30 days, and if not, they get a lien placed on their house, anywhere from $25 to like $100 a day. These liens get ridiculous. People do not choose to go on these lists. Life happens, and this is where you come in to help them out. Honestly, code violations are the easiest list to find the highest, most motivated sellers. Nobody wants their place to look bad. If the pools turn green and the screens are ripped in, they're going to get a code violation. The grass is too high. Their mailbox is knocked over. There's too much crap in the yard. And if they don't fix it, the lien's going to strip all the equity out of the property. So this is why I like them. How easy to get at code violations? They're much easier to get in person. Difficult to get on the phone. Almost impossible. Not impossible, but they're challenging to get virtual, meaning it's going to be 50-50. Hands down, code violations were my favorite list when I started in wholesaling, and today they're still my favorite. The problem is there's only so many code violations. Now, you want to look for ones that are open violations, and if you can catch them sooner than later, you usually do better. Don't deal with the closed ones because they're kind of done. You want to deal with it. Code violations, if you skip this process, I'm telling you, it will work. So I'm reading all your notes as I go to it. I'm not as fast as Zach with this. Number 2, pre-foreclosures. Hands down, these people need to make a decision, and it's not going to be a tremendous amount of leads. But when these are people basically got behind in paying their mortgage. Once they get 2 or 3 months behind, they're going to have to sell the property. If you catch them sooner than later, number 1, whoever gets a hold of them first has the best shot. And number 2, you need to find someone who wants to make a decision. Now, I find pre-foreclosures, either they make a decision in the very beginning or they wait till the very end. The very end, they're a nightmare. There's usually no money left in it, and they never make a decision until their property goes to auction and the sheriff kicks them out. So try to catch them early. If they keep wasting your time, move on, because you only have 30 days to get this done. You can't dance with someone for 6 months and meet a 30-day deadline. It's not going to work. So the good news about pre-foreclosures, it's a public lawsuit. So it's easy to get access to this list. It's not hard to get. So you should be able to get them if you're local or virtual. It is a public, it's a public lawsuit. Now, a lot of you go, hey, listen, I called and they wouldn't give me the pre-foreclosure list, because that doesn't exist in the courthouse. So you're looking for the lis pendens or a notice of default, or what they call an NOD or a nod. So that's typically what they're filed under there. If you get really confused, go, listen, where can I get the court cases where people are behind on their mortgages and there's a lawsuit pending? And usually people will help you out with the court system. List number 3, tax delinquency. Now, these people never respond to mail. They'll never answer their phone. You can try, and I'll tell you the best way to attack them. I'm just going to tell you right now, either SMS or reverse driving for dollars. But tax delinquencies, I look for people that are 2 or more years behind on their taxes. They know if they don't do something, they're going to lose the property. So property taxes exceed everybody in the list of liens. It doesn't matter how many mortgages are on the property tax takes first and highest priority, because property taxes are used to fund state and city budgets, and they have to do them. Now, the next one, the eviction list. Once again, this is an easy list to get, but you got to get it sooner than later. These are landlords that are evicting really bad tenants. Either they didn't pay, or they trashed the property, or they did a combo of both. And if they did it, the sooner you can catch them when they file, the better shot you have. Because keep in mind, the tenant's most likely still in the property. The property's in rough shape. They have no cash flow. This is where you're going to find most of your retired landlords. And here's the good news. This is an easy list to get. It doesn't matter if you're local or virtual. Anybody can get this list. It is a public lawsuit. Now, most courts will say, hey, give me your evictions list, and that should suffice. But just ask for property owners looking to remove tenants if they make it difficult. Now, this next list is difficult. I'm not even going to hide it from you. But remember, we're trying to compact 30 days. 30 days is fast, guys. You got to get stuff done. How do I get stuff done? Water shutoff. Remember, these have to be public utility companies. Public utility companies. Let me repeat that again. Public utility companies, usually owned by the city or the county, and it doesn't even guarantee you're going to get it. But when you get it, you're thinking, what the hell, Rick? If they shut off their water, why would I chase them down? If they shut off their water, there's bigger problems, and usually water is the last thing to go before someone lets a house go. Keep in mind, I'm looking for the highest motivation. How do I find the highest motivation? I find people with the highest priority of problems on their house. So where there's smoke, there's fire. You guys are looking for fire. The government lists are used to find the fire because it is the smoke. Why are these not told in any other courses and stuff like that? Because they can't really charge you for it, so they hide it. And that's the hard part about it. So how are we going to attack these lists? I've already hinted before on it, but I will tell you this. Between the code violations, pre-foreclosures, tax delinquency, and the eviction list, my favorite way to do is reverse driving for dollars. This is where you go, you get the list of properties. You can organize it. You can easily do this on your own. If not, go to dmzach.com. They'll organize a drive pattern through Deal Machine so you don't drive yourself crazy. So if you already have it, you can export your list, put it in Deal Machine. It'll show you the fastest and quickest route. And you just put a sticky note on the door. Hey, got a quick question for you. It's Rick. Make it creative. Handwriting's great. You can do a stamp. Be creative as you want. Chartreuse, lime green. Why do we do it? Because it works. It works really well. And keep in mind, when you do the sticky notes, if somebody comes out and yells at you, just get back in your car and go, listen, my boss just told me to put the sticker on the door. If they say, listen, are you the guy who buys the houses? I need to talk to you. You say, yes, I can help you out. And either way, if they want to talk, you can engage them. If they want nothing to do with you and they're going to be a menace, get in your car. No habla español, no English. Just get in your car and move on. It's that simple. In the old days, I used to door knock, and there was nowhere to hide when you knocked on that door. So with the advent of Ring doorbells and nobody wanted to answer the door anymore, reverse driving for dollars is extremely effective. And I don't know about you, but if you stick a note on my door and you say, listen, I got to ask you a quick question, and you put a phone number in your name, I'm going to call you too. So the only one that does not work for is the eviction list because you have tenants in the property. So how do I attack the eviction list? A simple skip trace. You can go through dmzach.com. You can go through Batch. Heck, you can go through PropStream. It doesn't matter. And just pick up the phone and call them. And you can also send them a text. And that's the only exception. But guys, remember, the reason why I'm telling you to do reverse driving for dollars is because we're trying to get something done in a very condensed period of time. So you have to have high priority. You got to get it done. Reverse driving for dollars, once you get them on the phone and start talking to them, you can quickly sort out the motivation going through MCTP, and you can decide if you can put a deal together. It's that simple. Now, the one other technique I will add on top of this is really simple. Everybody overthinks this. Everyone thinks they're just too glamorous to do this technique, and most people miss the boat. Just driving for dollars. I can go out and get 300 to 500 properties like that. Do I have to invest time? Do I got to put a little gas in my car? Yes, but it works. Why? Because most of us get a list. And when we get a list, say you buy a list or say you get through one of the software services and say you got a list of, say, 5,000 people. If I got a list of 500 or 1,000 driving for dollars, guess what? That's like having 20 of your other lists. Because if I have a big blanket list, say a high equity or something like that, I have no idea if there's any motivation or if the property needs help or there's any signs of distress. When I use my eyes and I go out and I do the driving for dollars, dude, like these things are stacking up on the list. The property looks like crap. It's run down. The neighbors are complaining about it. The windows are boarded up. There is a high probability that's going to be good. So what you want to do is add your driving for dollars leads. And by the way, if I'm looking in 30 days, I'm going to make it a must. Every day, probably twice a day, I'm going to go out and hunt like crazy. You could easily pick up 1,000 driving for dollars leads in 1 month if you put your mind to it. And I'm telling you, those types of leads have a 10x effect. I know it's a Grant Cardone saying, but it's true. If you visually see distress in the property, the odds are you've got a much better probability of getting a wholesale deal. So put those with your government list and you should be able to easily get to that 3,000 to 4,000 mark from there. You're not going to get to these high numbers by doing FSBOs. MLS is a complete waste of time on this. MLS is a long-term play and you usually have to have some experience when doing it. So now, if you go, okay, wait a minute, I'm still going to be short, Rick, go out and do the Bandit signs. I love Bandit signs. I started out doing Bandit signs. I had my son start out doing Bandit signs. Why? Because it works. I thought they were tired and worn out, but apparently they still work. And don't break any laws in your cities or your neighborhoods, but you simply go out and and don't do it like the gurus teach you. Go buy a box of 500 signs and have it professionally printed. You're going to be out thousands of dollars doing that. Go get 10 to 20 signs, Go find a sign store that will sell you blanks, or go to one of the big box stores and get an 18 by 24 and get one of those obnoxious thick black markers or a blue marker. And you're going to do 3 lines. And it's simple as this: sell your house today, any condition, any situation, and your virtual phone number on one side. That's it. I'm telling you, you got to find a high traffic area, because now when people look at signs, what do? They drive by and they take a picture of it. If you can't drive by the sign and take a picture of it, don't put it in that area. I want you to think of, Rick, where the hell do I put them? Look for high congested traffic areas where you see other signs that are sticking up. Mattress signs are notorious for this, and dating websites are notorious for them. And actually, if you get smart, you can work out a deal with them. All you need is 10 to 20 signs. Why? Because number one, I don't want you going broke. And number two, this is guerrilla marketing. Hit one area hard, make it like you're much bigger. Think 300. If you ever saw the movie 300, 300 soldiers had to fight, I think it's 30,000 soldiers, and they fought them off for like 2 weeks. Why? They manipulated real estate, corners, and everything out. That's what you're doing. You're going to seem bigger than you appear. Now, when you put them out, I like to put them out Friday afternoons after 2 o'clock and have them run all weekend. And if I'm on a tight budget, I just go by and pick them up. You're never going to pick up all of them. Someone always steals your sign or the wind knocks it over. Doesn't matter. You just need one phone call. And guys, when they call your phone, answer the damn thing. Answer it. These things work. Now, my favorite areas is near a Walmart. I'm not crazy. Home Depot's okay, but like, remember, if you put them on those lots, they'll pick them up. So if there's a shrub line in front of the Walmart, just put it right below the shrubs. The employees don't pick up anything because most of them hate that job. So take advantage of the exposure. And remember, when somebody calls you off this sign, they're usually calling you for a reason. Either they're crying Karen and they got nothing better to do, and don't take it out of them, just move on. Or number two, they're curious and they don't want to admit how big of a problem they have, so you have to have a conversation. So, you know me, Zach, teach you how to have a conversation with everyone. You need to learn how to do that. Go over to freewholesaling.com. We'll teach you how to do that. Now, those are the physical bandit signs. Notice I said 10 to 20, so you don't go broke. I used to have the signs printed. In fact, I owned a company that printed all the signs. It's brutally expensive, guys. And if the print doesn't take you out, the shipping will destroy you. The boxes are big, they're heavy. And on average, you're going to spend $500 as the bare minimum. And then you're going to spend close to $1,000 to do like 500 signs. And it's not worth it, guys. I'm just telling you, do the approach I teach you, because you can have the deals just pay for themselves. I don't want people spending that kind of money. The next one. I know I got a lot of young people on here, the digital bandit signs. I'm not going to go into grave detail on this, but you're basically going in the groups you're already part of, and we teach you how to basically do a sniper post in there without getting spammed or anything like that. I don't teach spam because I get really annoyed with everyone who spams in wholesaling houses for real. And I think we've got 15,000 people that are banned from it. Why? Because someone taught them how to spam. The minute you spam, you just waste your time and you blacklist. By the way, everyone gets blacklisted. We go to a central site and we share it with everybody else, because these people go to all the real estate groups and do the exact same things. So go over to freewholesaling.com. We'll teach you how to do it. You just have to have time. There's no cost to it, but there is a technique to it, and it works really well. The next one, most of you just ignore this one. And I know we're in an internet technology age, but sometimes you got to get down to brass root tactics. And you guys just need to go to your local RIAs. It's just a real estate group. They talk about real estate investing. Unfortunately, wholesaling is a very small percentage what they teach. It's mostly fix and flippers. But these are the type of people I want to sell my properties to. So if you don't have a cash buyers list, it is a great way to go. Also, there's a lot of people in your situation just getting started out. And there's a lot of people you can partner up with on these deals. And you should go to them. Don't pay any more in the door entry to get in there. Do not buy any products in these things, because they're going to sell the crap out of you. I used to own one. I sold it just for this, because what happens, a speaker comes in, they offer a course and they double the price, and then they split the proceeds, and the speaker you'll never see again. And they don't know your market. They're not going to help you out. And 90% of the crap they sell is just garbage. I'm sorry, because you all get excited. Just don't buy it. The real action happens right before the meeting and right after the meeting, hands down. And I've known people in the business 20 plus years from the RIA meetings. I still like to go to them. So anybody in Florida wants to give me a shout out on it, I love doing that stuff. So that's simple as you do it. I know if you want more details on step-by-step, freewholesaling.com, but I've broken down, remember, 30 days. It is a condensed time period. We have to get it done. So what are the rules for a 30-day deal? So you're going to have to make some rules for yourself so you don't self-sabotage yourself. Because when you do that, it is ridiculous. So let me, boy, you guys got a lot of questions here. I'll get to the questions, I promise. So here's the rules. These are your rules for 30. If you want to deal in 30 days, if you break these rules, I can't help you. Zach can't help you. Nobody can help you. Number one, no excuses. You don't have time for it. And listen, nobody wants to hear somebody crying and whining. If you only have 30 days and you spend 2 days crying, now you're doing the 28-day program and you got no shot in hell. So be honest with yourself. Excuses don't work in wholesaling. It's not like your regular 9-to-5 job. You can sit there and whine to your boss, your coworkers. You only have yourself to whine to, and your own self doesn't care. Wholesaling doesn't care. I don't care. Zach doesn't care. So please just stop whining. And if you find yourself whining, just stop yourself and go, crap, I'm whining. Rick told me not to whine. I only have 30 days to get this done. I'm wasting time. In fact, if you learn this little secret, life gets a whole lot easier because you still got to do the hard stuff in life. No matter how much you whine, it doesn't go away. So as soon as you know that, just don't be the whiner. Nobody wants to be around a whiner. I can't stand it. You get nothing done. I used to be a whiner. I didn't make any money. I had a ridiculous boss. All I did is whine until I decided to take control of my own destiny through wholesaling. So that's number one. Number two, nobody cares how hard it is. Just do it. 30 days is a huge challenge. And honestly, you do 30 days and you get a deal, hit me up and me and Zach will bring you on here and we'll walk you through. You'll walk us through how you did it, the challenges you did, and what was the key things that got you through to do it. Now, every now and then some people get lucky. I'm not looking for lucky people. I'm looking for someone to take a 30-day. And by the way, me and Zach are getting ready to launch a 30-day challenge. So this is going to be huge. You have to understand it's going to be hard, but nobody cares. You just have to do it. Don't try to do it. I don't want you to touch it if you're not going to do it. You've got to understand that. And the last piece you have to understand, I went back and talked about the RIAs earlier, and I see a lot of people in the comments. I see some senior investors in here. I see a lot of people that have done a lot of deals in here. You have an incredible opportunity to JV with people. That counts, guys. Just to let you know, when I first started way back in 2003, probably before 90% of you born, showing my age, I used to JV with people because I was really good at getting deals and I didn't know how to sell them. In fact, I was terrible at it. So my first 12 months, I JV'd a lot of stuff and I looked for people that had good cash buyers. And so what you can do is you can easily, in a comments just like this, or in Wholesaling Houses for Real, the largest Facebook wholesaling group, there's plenty of people. In fact, there's about a dozen people that me and Zach work with, and all they do is do JVs. They do them in the comments. They do them inside the Flip with Rick Plus group. They do them at their local RIAs, and they just connect with everybody. And it's a great way to learn how other people do their business. Not one person has it always nailed down. And that's what I love about wholesaling. But guys, JVs, so many of you guys overlook this opportunity to do it. And I'm here to tell you, they are great to do. Now, I know I just gave you a 33-minute rundown on how to get a deal in 30 days. I'm telling you, I just gave the most important stuff. Every technique I just talked about is inside of freewholesaling.com. If you go over there and you want to learn more details about it, don't worry. This is recorded. You can go back, go to freewholesaling.com. I want you guys to win. Now, if you want to take us up on the 30 days and we have the 30-day challenge coming up here, I believe we're going to do it in June or the last week. I think it's June. We do it every year. It's pretty cool. We do 30 days and we walk through each one of these techniques in grave detail. But if you want to jumpstart on it, go over to freewholesaling.com and we'll figure out how to get that going for you.